Thank you.
Thank you for being here, man. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm really well today,
I'm
man.
glad to see you. How long has it been? A few weeks? A couple months? Month?
3 weeks? Yeah, 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, it's too long.
Yeah, no kidding, man. How you been though? How's everything going? I know you had some updates coming out, but are you able to talk about them at all?
Nothing huge right now. What I can say is I'm prepping for my 100-miler end of the month, so April 29th in Salmon Arm.
This is going to come out the day before. This is going to come out on the 28th.
So tomorrow I'll be going for 100 miles.
That's wicked.
The goal is to do that in under 24 hours. And if I succeed, then I'll just continue running. So the format of this 100 milers is it's a 4-mile loop, and then you have 60 minutes to run that 4-mile loop. And if you do that, then you continue moving, right? And you do that until you can't. So my goal is to do 100 miles, and if I can continue moving, I keep going. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
That's wild, man. What so when you say you do it until you can't, like what does it look like for tapping out? Like, do you have to call it quits yourself, or like if you rest for too long, do they disqualify you? Or like
yeah, so if you don't make it past, if you don't cross the line of the 4-mile loop at 60 minutes, then you're
every
out.
60 minutes.
Every 60 minutes, you have 60 minutes on the hour, right, to do the 4 miles. So 4 miles, if you're, you can do it in 35, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it is, right? Or even 50, depending on how fast you want to do it.
But then your hour recounts every time you pass that line.
Well, then no. So let's say you're at 40 minutes. You still have 20 minutes to the next hour, so you can chill if you want, or you could stretch, or you could
keep running.
No, you have to wait.
Oh shit!
So you got to strategically figure out how you want to do that. Do you want to run all the way 59 minutes and then kind of go to the 60, that kind of thing? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to save some energy, stretch, relax, nutrition? How do you want to play it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's also a trail run. It's not a super high elevation, so it shouldn't be super difficult. It's 150-meter elevation, which isn't much if you're doing like a marathon or something. But if you're trying to run over 100 miles, or some of the people that win this is like 300 kilometers. So once you start getting in that sort of range, 150 meters turns into a lot, right? So yeah, right now I'm just kind of starting to gear down my runs and keeping it a little bit lighter starting next week. So yeah.
What does like recovery look like for you? Like leading up to an event, like what kind of things are you like doing absolutely nothing the first, like the couple days leading up to it? Are you doing like yoga, stretching, or what does it look like for you, like prep like that?
Well, this is all new for me, right? Like I've never done anything like this. Yeah, I ran that 100K last year, but what I'm doing now is entirely different because I'm essentially doing one ultra every month. Mm-hmm. So my ego isn't that huge where I think I can accomplish all these things by myself. So I've hired a running coach. And Coach Ron from Langley.
Shout out to Coach Ron.
Yeah, Gritty Run Club, what's up?
I love that, man.
But he's legit, man. And so I knew when I was taking on this task, I needed some help, right? And I didn't know specifically what kind of help was needed. I knew I needed mechanics with my running, and just someone with years of experience and understanding of track, right? And hitting the road. I don't know that much compared to a lot of people. So I caught up with him. His name's Ron Lowen in Gritty Run Club, and he's fast.
Yeah.
He's fast. Well, I don't know compared to nationally, but he can do 5K in like 15 minutes.
That's fucking insane.
16, I don't know, like it's a stupid number.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's insane. I like for just comparing that to myself, I ran 6.5K this morning in 35 minutes. So I run like usually like around like 5.5 minutes a kilometer, 540, 550.
This guy's doing like 3 minutes per kilometer.
That's stupid.
And I think his 10Ks something like 30 minutes or a half an hour or something stupid. So he's legit. Right?
That's insane.
And he also does long runs, and so he understood. And I think for the goal that we're trying to achieve here, to run across Canada in record time, like that, I forgot, I didn't really mention that.
Yeah.
That's the update, one of them. Anyway, my goal is to break the record. So the record is 72 days, 10 hours to run across Canada, 7,300 kilometers. My goal is to.
How many kilometers is that a day?
112.
Dude, that first one?
Actually, sorry. 112 kilometers to destroy the record. That'll make it like 65 days.
65 days. So you're leaving yourself like a little window, just in case we miss a couple days.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, I'm all in now, right? Like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to break the record. Now, I don't know if I'll beat it, but I'm gonna do everything in my power so that I can.
Dude, if you know, if you don't beat it, you're gonna have to try it again, right?
Listen, we'll see what happens. Well, obviously, man, I don't quit.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking of. Like, from what I know about you, man, I know that if you don't break it, you're gonna attempt it again.
Yeah, so I want to do it the first time.
Yeah, no shit. Just do it that one time, man. 112K a day, man.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I figured. So if I'm gonna do that, so here's how I came to this, right? The importance of challenging yourself, the importance of setting a goal. Yeah, we all understand that we need to set a goal, right? Or at least we should understand that it's important to set goals to progress, right? But not only to progress, to also give yourself confidence, to also explore what else is possible, right? So a few weeks ago, I did the Goggins 4x4, right?
Right.
The 4x4 48. And so I was doing that. I kind of amended the...
People might not know what that is.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So 4 miles every 4.
So David Goggins set this challenge. He's a retired Navy SEAL. He's written a book called Can't Hurt Me. And he set a challenge to run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. Okay, so I was going to... Yeah, so it ends up being like 77 kilometers in the 2 days. Now, I wanted to do that challenge, and I'm pretty certain, like I'm confident that it would be difficult, but I could do it, right? Mm-hmm. But I wanted to amend the hours a little bit just because, the second day I amended the hours a little bit because I just thought it was too limiting. I wanted to keep moving, keep running.
Yeah.
So the stopping every 4 hours was just whatever. And then it got to a point where it's like, I just want to see how much I can fucking do, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of like sticking to this one rule set, there was no real reason to do it. I just wanted to test myself. So anyways, the whole point was to test. I was using the Goggins thing as a framework to test myself, but really the Goggins thing was irrelevant. I wanted to test myself, period, full stop.
I've been there, man. Trust me. I know the feeling.
Yeah. So I in the 2 days I ended up running 95 kilometers.
Jesus Christ.
And so I ran 50 the first day, and then it was like 40 something the second day. And I was okay, right? I wasn't like destroyed. And then I started thinking during the 2 days while I was running, I was thinking how I was feeling, how was like everything this was all feeling pretty decent.
Right.
And then I thought, okay, well, I'm running across Canada. I can do that now based on what I just did in 2 days. Mm-hmm. Like I could do that right now. I could do 50 kilometers
50K a day. Yeah.
I could do that right now. Like right now.
Yeah.
So then I thought, okay, if I can do that right now and I've set a timeline for 2 years, okay, what else can we do? Or how much further can we push?
Yeah.
Or how much more can we reach? Right?
Yeah.
Like and on every level, not just physically, but with people.
Like how can we make this spectacular?
Right. How can we make this bigger?
Yeah.
And how can we get more eyes on it so that there's more awareness for the mental health and also maybe dollars for the charity. Like that's kind of what I was thinking, right? And then I said, if I'm going to commit this far, then okay, well, let's break the fucking record.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're already like, that's the mindset now. If I'm already in that mindset of just drilling down and doing something difficult, then why don't we just say, fuck it, let's go all in, let's break a record. Right?
Yeah.
So then I started thinking, okay, what's the record?
Fastest time across Canada, yeah.
So the fastest time across Canada was set in 1991 by Al Howie, and he ran almost 7,400 kilometers in 72 days and 10 hours.
Jesus Christ, man. 72 days. So that's 3.5 months almost?
Yeah, so it's legit. Like super, super impressive. Mm-hmm. Like, No, not even. No, bro. Like 72 days.
72 days is two
and a half
months.
months.
Yeah, 2.5 months.
Yeah. So 72 days, 10 hours, right? And so that's about 100 kilometers a day. About 100 kilometers a day. Okay. Now, I have 2 years. Let's see if I can beat it.
Right.
So now, in order to do that, I touched up on Ron Lowen. And the idea now, that through discussion with him, was, okay, look, man, you're not really a runner, but how do we need to get you to that next stage? So for the last couple of years, I've been running in a certain zone, right? And it hasn't been that lactic acid sort of increasing zone, and it hasn't been in the speed zone, but it's been in the durability zone.
Okay.
So I can take a lot of load. Like I can go for a long time. The issue is I'm not fast. I can't keep going like at a high speed for a long period of time. So if I'm going to run 112 kilometers a day, which would make it 65 days to break the record, then how many hours do I need to run a day?
Right.
Okay, if I'm running 10 to 12 hours a day, let's say 12 to 13 hours a day, I can do that and then still rest and then recover and then do it again the next day. But we need to figure out what pace I can do that every single day. So right now, I can run 12 hours at 6.5 to, let's say even 7.5 minutes a kilometer every single day. And that'll probably put me around 12 hours, but it won't get me at the 100 kilometers a day. Let's say it gets me at 60.
Okay. Right. I get you.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I have a number, what I know I can do, how much more I need. I get the delta there, the 40 kilometer delta, right? So I need to figure out how I need to increase that amount. Okay, so, and this is us just figuring it out, me and Ron just kind of discussing it, him making suggestions from his expertise of running. He's suggesting, and I'm agreeing with him now because he knows more, you got to get faster. Okay, so let's get faster. So if I'm getting faster, and if I can bring that time down to 5.5 minutes per kilometer, and where that pace is easy for days and days and days, then we're good.
Yeah.
So now let's do that. Let's figure out how to do that now. And now we're training for that. So I'm getting him to provide me all the protocol. This is what you run. This is what you. So he's giving me everything now. So there's no guesswork. So now every week he uploads my workouts. He like in terms of my running. So like my what I do every single day in terms of day run, evening run, walk, whatever it is, and then also leg exercises. What I need to do, which days to do them on. And then also mobility training. So he's giving me those and how to do them and so everything's mapped out for me. There's no guesswork. I just go on the app that he's provided me, and then I click on it. It's videos, everything. So I'm set. Now, if I was able to do everything that I was able to do without that assistance, and now I'm getting that assistance and more, it's gonna.
That's insane,
right?
Man.
So now, so he's basically saying, okay, now we're gonna taper down running now. So he's saying it to me from his experience. Because normally what I would do is like I would keep going, or I'd maybe take a full week off. It wouldn't be the right amount, right? So I would never be peaking.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had enough experience with running to know how to peak. Jiu-jitsu to make weight, I know how to peak. Bodybuilding and to look shredded, I know how to peak.
Yeah.
But this is a whole new sort of game for me that I need to learn. So it makes a lot of sense for me to hire someone like Ron, so I can also learn from him.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, and he for sure knows. Like, and he's got a lot of experience. He's been doing this for a long time, so I'm going to learn from him. And I'm not going to have and he's probably like 15 years younger than me. I don't know, right? I have zero ego because he knows more than me.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
He's a runner. Yeah.
He's a runner. That's his thing. So, and I respect his knowledge, and he's a coach. I want to utilize him as a coach. For me to utilize him as a coach, I have to be the student.
Yeah.
So cool. Now, and I'm super pumped now. I'm even more excited now because now I have all this shit to do that's brand new. I've never done any of this shit before. Yeah. Now it's all brand new. So now that's happened. So that's step one to get to this faster. Now we already started the plan, right? Step two is to fat adapt. So now if I'm going to be running super long times, like 12, more than 12 hours at a time, I need to start probably looking at different ways to provide energy for me. because I know from my running, like if I'm going, like if I have too much carbs or too much sugary stuff, my stomach doesn't feel good. Now, if I'm going to run for 24 hours, if I have too much sugar, then that's not a good thing to have my stomach mangled for like
digesting that shit for 12 hours at a time.
So I got to start figuring out other things. So I was talking to my friend Sean. He's got loads of experience as it relates to like long-term endurance movement, running or biking or whatever. And he made a suggestion to start looking at fat adaptation, right? And just for the mere fact for the races, so that if I'm going on a long duration ride or run, you know, the having too much protein through that body, you're not able to process it. So then you get bunged up and things start happening in your stomach. So that's not good. But if you're able to fat adapt in advance and then you just start crunching on a piece of fat while you're running, you're using that as energy to maintain. Now,
like
you don't
pork rinds or something like that.
or just lard, whatever.
Yeah.
Like whatever you need to eat. I wouldn't eat pork rinds. I mean, I don't know if it would be good. I would have to try it to test it to see if it'd be beneficial, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
No, honestly, I don't know. Like, it might work. I don't know. Or maybe regular, just straight up lard. I don't know. But I would test it to see what would be the best thing. And then, or best thing for me.
Like tallow, like the like just beef fat.
Maybe. I don't know. Like, I would probably think just not logically, but like commonsensically, like, maybe animal fat would be better than,
I agree.
Right? Just to consume the animal fat versus anything else, because naturally that's what we'd be able to eat, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was...
Don't think too logical now. You're going to get away from people.
I shouldn't. I don't want to get away too far, man.
Yeah, people would be like, whoa, what?
Yeah. But anyways, you know, so I'm just exploring that. So through that conversation with Sean, now I'm thinking, okay, I don't know, and like I know a ton about nutrition and diet as it relates to, let's say jiu-jitsu and even like in bodybuilding to an even higher degree. But when it comes to this endurance, elite, ultra stuff, it's different, right? And it's performance based, whereas bodybuilding isn't really performance based when you're stepping on stage. Jiu-jitsu is performance based, but it's a different performance, it's more explosive, right? What I'm going to be doing is long, steady kind of running, so it would require a different sort of energy source, I think.
100%.
Anyway, so I'm just exploring that, and then through that, I've connected with Romy from Intuitive Nutrition. He's linked up with Fit Nation BC, and he's managing my transition in. So he's sorting out my diet to transition it into a fat adapted diet now. So he's in control of my food. So he tells me what to do and what to get and what to eat now, just to make sure and obviously not, it'll be in conjunction with my knowledge too and my daily workouts and all that. But he's also making suggestions as it relates to better alternatives of food, right?
Yeah.
Like things that I might know, but he's like, hey, come on, man, like, you know better. And it holds me accountable. Even though I may already know, it's another reminder. So it's helpful to have someone like Romy from Intuitive Nutrition to come help me out with that stuff. And so those two people have come on the team now. So that's added to the team. So yeah, man, things are moving in the right direction. It feels cool, fun, and we're moving. And we've raised already about $1,700.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, and we have already done one run. We got another one coming up. So that's $1,700 is going straight to Honor House, like I was mentioning before.
That's wicked.
Yeah, man. So everything's kind of rolling, man. Yeah,
that's sick. Make sure as well, like, you get a donation link. I'll put it in the description of this shit, because this is going to be launched like literally the day before you do your 100 miles.
Okay.
So we'll drop this, and then we'll drop the description, or we'll drop the link in the description for anyone that wants to donate as well, because we can get those donations way up. Like,
that's awesome,
I'm
man.
sure in the next couple of weeks, 1,700, like, we'll be laughing at the fact that you said 1,700 on here, because you'll be like, bro, it's way higher by the time this is uploaded.
Well, hey, man, any amount of donation helps, man. Even if it's $1, I don't like anything that anyone can spare. I know it's been tough times for a lot of people. I get it, and whatever you can donate, it's much appreciated. Because just want to remind everybody, the money is going directly to Honor Ranch, and they're building 10 cabins to support retired members of the military or current serving members or any first responders, that includes paramedics, firefighters, CBSA, all these types of people with occupational stress injuries, PTSD. They can go there, get treatment with their families present, free of charge. They just have to apply.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're trying to raise $30,000 this year. That'll all go towards building that ranch, and it's it's got top of the line treatment, all this kind of cool stuff, and it's here in BC. So if we can get a little bit from everybody, and we can make a difference. So that's the goal.
Dude, I wanted to talk about that actually as well today. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about like the nitty gritty of like kind of like the why behind the what, because people are like hearing, okay, like why is this guy even running across Canada? Like, okay, he's doing it for a charity to raise money, but like what's it for? Because everyone's kind of like everyone that's raising money is raising money for a different cause, obviously, but we always want to know like, okay, where's this money going to? Like, what's it going towards? And I like that you kind of opened up that way, because I've had someone, never actually from our military in Canada, but I've had someone from like the British military on the podcast before, and we talked a lot about like the services that are provided for mental health and, you know, kind of maybe the preparation for service, or, you know, when people return from tour, or what kind of services are provided, right? And so like with the limited knowledge that I have around like the Canadian military and the services that they provide, what's kind of like a missing piece, like in the in between? Like why are we even needing these services? Do you know what I mean? Like why does this honor ranch even need to be a place? Like aren't these people being taken care of by the government?
Short answer, no, straight up. And look, I'm relatively new to this community, the veteran community, right? But not the first responder community, and. But I am engaging for over the last year and a half with a lot of these people. And from what I've been hearing from them is that the government hasn't been supporting them in the way that you would suspect or expect them to do so. So that's why there's a lot of these charitable organizations around to fill that gap. So you have Honor House, Honor Ranch, you have the Royal Canadian Legion, you have all these different Wounded Warriors, a ton of different organizations that are there to fill in the major gaps that are being left by the federal government. Now, not going to talk about it, government. It's whatever. I mean, I don't care. What I can control is myself, and the only thing I see where I can help is by running and raising awareness and money, and everything else I can't really control. So that's the direction I'm kind of going in, and yeah, man, that's where that money's going to go. And Honor House is a relatively smaller charity, so they don't have a ton of overhead. So more of their money that gets donated gets used for the things that it needs to get used for. So Honor Ranch, man, it's like one of a kind sort of place that's going to be supporting a lot of people with PTSD. So an example of an individual that may be going there is a friend of mine through Instagram, and met him through Instagram. He's got a company called Bushwookie Apparel. He's out east. He's a veteran. And he served with, he was an infantry sniper, all this kind of stuff. And he's a hardworking individual that was very helpful in the veteran community as well. So during the holiday season, December, he shot himself in the face. He had a few drinks, and he was, not feeling so good, as many of us do from time to time. So unfortunately, at the time, he took out his gun and put it to his face and shot it. Luckily, he survived. Shit. And he had a lot of surgeries, but nonetheless, he survived. But someone like that would be a perfect candidate for where the money's going to be going, to Honor Ranch, to basically support an individual like that. So it's for more extreme cases like that. But yeah, man, it's needed. So
that's heavy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think we forget about the people that kind of and like whatever your stance is, like and I'm not saying like you, I don't really know, but I mean for anyone listening to this, it's like whatever your stance is on like war or anything like that, like you kind of have to realize like everything we have around us, like we can't take for granted. Like someone did sacrifice for that, and I think a lot of the times those people, not even just veterans, but you're right, like it's all first responders, like we kind of take them for granted and realize that, how heavy those things weigh on them.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you think about it, look, we all know in this kind of journey of understanding mental health, we all should know by now that everyone has trauma, right? Now, imagine being a first responder responding to trauma all the time. So, at some point it does affect people. Look, and it's no secret in the United States for sure, there have been studies that have shown statistics. I believe it's 22 veterans a day commit suicide in the United States, right? Due to mental health or whatever the case may be. So, and that's just the U.S. So, I mean, you can imagine what it would be if you were to include veterans and first responders in Canada and the U.S. would probably be a lot higher number. So, not to say that, it is a problem, and I think it's important that we address it, and I think it's important that there are people out there that are trying to raise awareness and try to raise funds for various different charities that help people, and that's pretty much why I'm running so much. Right? That's the whole reason. And another why is because I myself suffer from PTSD, right? So I understand or I can relate to the pain. And I understand when someone says, I have a dark cloud over my head, I know what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
So, and I've been close at times to those really dark moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can relate. Any one of us can get there. Any one of us. Like, you have a few bad scenarios of luck, and then you find yourself in a situation that is maybe above your skill set in terms of handling it,
or like what stress levels you're acclimated to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Like, look, I've had a major depressive episode, and friends of mine and people that I know would be like, "No way, you're mentally strong," or whatever, right? Everyone breaks.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are, right? Like, everyone has a breaking point, and I'll admit it. I've had mine. I've had times where I've broken down and didn't know what the fuck I was doing and lost. And I'm 44 now, and that's been in my 40s.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's happened 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. Like, so that's why I'm running. And when I ran that 100K last year and helped raise that money, it did change my life. Like, it changed my perspective. And I find value in what I'm doing. And not only value, I find it's enriching my life. It's making my life happier.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm changing my understanding of what I find to be happiness, or what I think, I think I'm redefining it for myself, what it means to be happy and what it means to move forward in this path, right? Because I think I need to redefine it in order to fully go down that road, I think. Because if I don't redefine happiness, then I'm going to have that old definition.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's a pulling of that. I don't know. Logically, it makes sense. What do you think?
What well, like, what I get where you're coming from, because it's kind of like we all have those like kind of like soul crushing days. Like, that's kind of the way I think of it. And I know when I'm having one of them, because I know the dark thoughts, they're the same thoughts that I have every time. It's like, is this even all worth it? Like, what what good could come in the future? Or, do you think you're going to get better at this thing? Like, do you really think that this is going to get better, or this area of your life is going to get better? And, I always have whenever I have those days, I think of it as like, I label it as like, oh, this is a soul crushing day. Like, my soul's crushed. You know what I mean? Like, my spirit's crushed. And then I have to kind of remind myself of, whatever things are keeping to push me through. And then that's kind of where I start to define what you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? Because there's the other things that can be taken away. And then those are the times you have the soul crushing days. And it's like, well, what am I actually doing this for?
Yeah, I think maybe...
And kind of redefining happiness around that.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, because
I think you and I might be... I might be just a little far along than you right now, I think. And I'm only saying that just based off what you just said right now. And I think maybe I might be on the just on that other side of that.
Like the next cusp.
I think I might be on that next side of that because now I feel more peaceful. Not as restless as I had been. Because I feel I understand a little bit better what I'm meant to do. Not saying I know. I think I understand a little bit
clearer
better.
image.
Maybe, yeah.
Like I think a bit more fog's been wiped off the lens.
Look a little bit, right? So now that gives me a little bit of peace, right? And lucky for me, it doesn't require a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like I've been, if I really reflect back on the last 44 years, I've meant to be an elite athlete. I just didn't know it. I was meant to be an athlete.
Yeah.
I should have, or not should have, but like maybe just things didn't work in a way and it just kind of went this way and, you know, whatever, right? Like my parents are immigrants, right? So the mentality was slightly different about 50 years ago. I'm 44. My brother's 47. You know, my dad left India when he was 19, right? And he went to England. And then my mom left India when she was probably 11 and went to England. And they went through their whatevers and they grew up. And my brother was born there, and then they immigrated to Canada, where I was born here. And but the mentality of an immigrant back in the late 70s, early 80s, at least an Indian immigrant, was very different than what I've seen now. Right. So, my dad's 80, so he's got a slightly different mentality as well, right? Not so different, but he's evolved. But you know, back then it was slightly different. So, needless to say, I was a fairly strict household, right? And like a typical Indo-Canadian household, it was strict. My dad
pretty conservative, like not politically, I'm saying, but like just like conservative.
Yeah, sure.
In terms of
culturally,
like,
sure.
Yeah, like
Dating
there's
and
these
things.
guidelines, and we're gonna follow the guidelines, and they don't change for anybody.
No, yeah. Super strict. So I never was able to think outside that framework because it was given to me. It was like, oh, here's the framework.
Yeah,
don't think outside that.
Yeah.
But think
mind your P's and Q's.
Mind your P's and Q's. But think inside this box, and as long as everything's inside that box, cool. But outside that box,
get your career, get your wife, get this, get that.
Yeah.
Don't piss these people off,
and then you're straight.
Yeah.
So now, when you live like that, you think like that, and it's a way of thinking. And I'm only now breaking free of it. Right? I've been most of my life chained to that thinking.
Right.
From childhood and then going through many years of life, not really understanding a ton of different things. And now seeing things a lot clearer that everything is really up to us as individuals, right? Whatever we want to do, we can do. Now, I'm speaking abstractly, I suppose, because I'm thinking inside my head and there's no connectivity to that fucking statement.
No, I get it. I get it. Because it's kind of redefining each time, like you go through these different molds of, you know, I think like even myself, like I kind of come from, you know, not a similar background, but similar in the sense of like my parents growing up, like my dad was kind of like he was self-employed entrepreneur, so it was kind of like if you want something, go and get it.
Sure.
And I got in trouble all the time because I used to try and call my buddy, like I call my dad buddy, or like call him like and it would be like you call me like father or dad, like that's it, like little things like that. And it was kind of like you grow up with this mindset of like, okay, I have to get a job, I have to get a career, and then I'm gonna buy a house. That's the expectation.
I mean, it's similar, right? There's expectations that are set upon you that you may not even know that you want or don't want.
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of those things I do want, I just didn't really think of it in the terms of.
But do you?
Well, certain things, but I just there's things I think about. It's like you don't have to do it that way. That's where I think of it.
That's okay. That's a good distinction, man. That you don't have to do it that way. That's cool. Yeah, because I guess growing up for me, I never really knew what I wanted to do. Right? I never really knew, I want to do this. No idea.
I feel like, and this is something I feel like everyone, I don't know if everyone goes through this, but I was on the phone with someone talking to them about this the other day, and we were just chatting about, how like there's so many people that grow up and they're like maybe like 6 or 7, and they're like, I'm gonna do this thing, and then for their whole life they just like go to school, they study that thing, and they become that thing, and then they do that thing for their life, and that's who they are. But like I remember when I was like finishing high school, and everyone's applying to college, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know what I want to do this summer. Like, to pick a job seems confining to me. I'm like, that's what I have to do every day for the rest of my life? Like, that's scary thought. Like it's a scary thing for me.
You know what, man? I think maybe we're not meant to. Because I felt like that too, right? It's like, there's got to be something more than this. I mean, come on, like this, that, and the other, whatever, right?
Every job I get, when I get comfortable at it, I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to do it anymore. Every job. I'm like, I couldn't do, now that I've done this for like over 2 years, 3 years, something's got to change.
Well, also,
I need something new.
But here's the other thing too. You doing this, right? You've been doing this. So your eyes are open to something different, right? So, realistically, this potentially could turn into something eventually if you want it to, right? So, in your mind, there's a possibility of that. So, if something over here, i.e., whatever your current employment is, isn't spicy for you, your eyes are on here. You're like, man, come on, man. Like, you see what I'm saying? Or
dude, it's dope that you're saying that, because I just realized I've been doing this for 2.5 years, and I still feel like I did when I started. I'm fucking really happy you said that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing that. This isn't like what I just explained.
Yeah.
This is one of the first things in my life where it's not like what you just explained. Like, I've been doing this for 2.5 years.
And you're getting better at it.
And I'm still excited to do it. I'm getting better at it. I'm like, how can I do this better? How can I expand this? Like, I love it. Like,
so maybe explore that. Or not maybe. You are exploring it.
Yeah.
You are. So good on you for doing that. And just keep doing it. Right? Just keep, it doesn't cost you none.
Yo, for anyone listening to this is like, I'm realizing this at the same time as you. So like, that's one of the best things that's literally the biggest mental breakthrough I've made on this podcast, man.
No, but legitimately,
because I've just been doing this.
Yeah, and
do you know what I mean? Like, there was no thought. I just started and I just kept doing it.
Yeah, and so you started and kept doing it, and you kept grinding through, and then when you hit a roadblock, you try to figure it out. So you didn't let something stop you. So that means that you're somewhat passionate about it. That means there's interest there. That means, look, you messaged me 2 or 3 times this week to set this up. That means that you're fucking getting after it, right? Like that, and that doesn't bother me. I'm illustrating your motivation, and how much you're getting after it, right? And I see the notes that you have everywhere, right? So that tells me that you're that tells me you're trying, right? So. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because you just said that you were like 5-10 minutes ago. I have no concept of time when I'm doing this, but a while back you were saying like you just found your purpose. Like you feel like now is the first time you feel like I have a meaning.
You're doing it now?
Purpose.
You're feeling it now?
Well, I'm feeling that energy on my side, but I wanted to ask you, like, how did you get to that point where you were like, okay, I felt like I was wandering the first little part of my life, and now it's like, fuck, it clicked. I know what I'm doing now. Like, how did that happen for you? Because it just happened literally just today for me. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, I knew, but you just clarified it more.
It's been happening. It's been happening increasingly, repeatedly, for the last few months, and that's why I don't want to do anything else. Like why would I? So I feel a sense of peace now because I feel like I'm fucking doing what I should be doing. So now I'd be an idiot not to figure out how to keep doing this for the rest of my life. So that, and it's not hard if you set a fucking goal. Because if you set a goal, all a goal is, what's a goal? A goal is a problem waiting to be solved, right? So almost every problem can be solved, right? Just because it's fucking hard as shit and no one else has ever done it, let's say hypothetically, doesn't mean it can't be. Nims did that thing, 14 peaks in 7 months.
Yeah.
No one came close. Like 7 years was the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
So how did he even imagine a ridiculous amount of time? He felt he could do it. He set a goal and he figured it out. That's it. He knew what he was capable of. He didn't know for sure, but he knew he had the grit and the capability to do something.
Yeah.
Then he said, I'm going to do it in this time. He did it in 6 months, 6 days. 14 peaks. Like a shit. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to set those goals and challenges. So when I set that goal and challenge to do 94 kilometers in 2 days, that's when I had the confidence to say I can break the record to run across Canada. If I didn't test myself, that would never have happened. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have been certain that I had the capability to put the work in and the effort to break a record. So goals and testing yourself is important, man. Like it's truly, man. I don't know how else to say it.
When you started setting, like when you started off in your fitness journey, like setting the goals that you're setting now, were you setting goals for yourself like you were back then?
I was useless. I was useless. Like absolutely garbage. I was probably like...
Because most people, the reason I ask that is because most people that might listen to this, or even like even myself, like we're not at that type of level where we can run across Canada. Like we're at like I need to figure out my daily workouts and like how do I set goals around that? Like when you first started,
I was the man.
What was your goal setting like?
Bro, I didn't even know how to fucking set a goal. I didn't know what I was doing. Like for fucking goals, I had to read. Like I had people tell me what to do. Like I didn't even know what I was doing. None, zero. I went to, because my parents didn't have a fucking clue.
Right.
They had no fucking clue. I mean, nothing again. They just don't know, right? They were busy working.
Like in regards to fitness or
fitness.
Just,
no clue, zero. Like they thought it was a waste of time, other than it's just you exercising. It's all good.
Yeah,
right?
like be healthy.
Yeah, but it was why
be healthy enough to work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like I'm thinking like when I started. In grade 9, I moved to Dallas, Texas. My dad left Toronto. We were living in the Toronto area. He got transferred by his company to Dallas. I left Toronto at the age of 12, moved to Dallas when I was 12 in the summertime to start grade 9 there.
Wow.
So that was tough.
No shit.
I didn't know a single fucking thing. And I went to that high school where it was like a culture shock, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was a fucking culture shock. It was like a rich white area, but Caucasian area.
Dude, it's all good.
And I'm there. And anyways, so I had no idea about fitness or sports at all. Everybody there knew a fucking thing. They were all playing sports, even like at when they were 3 or 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
So when they said you had to have in high school, you had to be on a sports team, like that was part of the high school.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't fucking know. They're like, okay, we'll put you on the basketball team, right? So I didn't play basketball. I never played a game before. I didn't even know how to hold the fucking ball.
Yeah.
I didn't, not a clue. What's training?
Yeah.
What's
like I grew up in Toronto. Like I could tell you about hockey. Like
not even hockey, bro. I don't even know how to skate to this day.
Fuck.
I didn't play any sports.
That's the most un-Canadian thing I ever heard you say, man.
Bro. I can start a campfire.
Okay. Okay. All right, you're Canadian. All right.
And maple syrup.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, man, I did not play any sports until I was 13.
That's crazy.
Zero. Nothing. And I didn't even play the sport. I was just dropped into a basketball court, and they're doing it was practice. Like it was a tryout. I didn't fucking know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I just obviously I got cut. Nothing's going on there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then my dad was with me, takes me back to school, and we go to the counselor's office, and the counselor's like, "Well, we got a wrestling team. I mean, the wrestling coach is nice. He won't like bust your ass because it wasn't a big team, right?"
Yeah.
So I went on the wrestling team, and I just sat my ass there.
It's like the most badass sport ever.
No, but it was small at my school, right?
Oh, okay.
So it was like, okay, go there. And then I went on the team, and my coach at the time, he was Coach Webb, and he was a cowboy, like legit. He was from Oklahoma. He played in he used to play football. He was at 50 years old at the time, right? When I was there, maybe about 50. So he was older, and he was a bit beat up a bit. He used to ride bulls,
What the?
He lived on a ranch and he used to ride bulls.
Yeah.
He was actually he was the first badass I ever knew. The first one. Now that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
He was the toughest guy, one of the toughest guys I've ever met. So he used to wrestle. He taught wrestling coach. He also taught people how to ride bulls, and he played football. He went to an Orange Bowl when he was like in college.
Jesus Christ.
So he had a finger that was kind of fucking mangled. Like his baby finger was like just distorted.
Twisted up.
Yeah, and we're like, Coach, what the fuck happened? He's, oh yeah, I was just, I was fucking lassoing a cow or whatever he was doing, and the rope wrapped his finger and ripped it off.
Holy shit.
He threw it back. He threw it on ice, finished what he was doing, and then went to the hospital after.
Wait, like it actually ripped it off?
Yeah. He on his left shin, he had this, imagine this is your shin. He had a big, massive lump on it, right? It was always there. It was like, how did the fucking knot get on your shin?
Yeah.
We're like, hey, Coach, what happened? He goes, I went downhill skiing one year, and the ski went through his fucking shin, like the fucking pole.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. He fell or something, and the ski went through his shit. And another one, he had a slice on his neck, like right here, where he's close to his jugular, or not, just like right about here, like a scar there, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're like, Coach, what happened there? He goes, I got in a car accident on my way to practice. He got cut. He went to practice, finished practice, and then went to the hospital after.
What a freak.
Yeah, he was a madman. Anyway, so that's my first experience.
So he lets you come on the wrestling team.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro,
no,
what are we going to do with you?
So it was grade 9, so we were JV at that time. When I got to grade 11, then it was different. I was a little bit better, but still shit. Like I was the worst runner on the team. We would always go for laps. I was always the last one. And I was 150 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I was still the last one. Like
just a stud. Just an absolute stud.
No, I was terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Like the fastest guy on my wrestling team. And I'm actually meeting him in the summer. Still talk to him, Adrian. He used to do his mile in 5 minutes.
Shit.
And he wasn't even he was just on the wrestling team.
Yeah.
So put that caliber of athlete, and we had a track team too, and he wasn't on the track team too. So we had people doing like 4-minute miles on our high school team.
Jesus.
Like it was legit. Anyway, so it was shit. It was terrible. But so I never learned how to develop good habits really and goals until way later in my life. Like I'm talking like in my late 20s. Like I was fucked. I didn't really break any breakthroughs physically, mentally, or anything. Like breakthroughs mentally are happening now. Breakthrough physically started happening in my 30s. Like early 30s. I started dieting at 27, and I was 232 pounds. And I was out of shape. I was a little bit strong, but it was not like real. It was fake, right?
It was like bench strong.
Yeah, bench strong.
You could bench a lot.
That was it.
Yeah.
Right? And not even much. Like eventually I could bench more than I did at that weight.
Yeah.
But I think it was just, I didn't know what I was doing. It was all superficial.
What was the first time you had like kind of like that first like huge mental breakthrough?
So what do you mean by mental breakthrough?
Well, you said like the physical breakthrough started happening in your 30s. You said like your first like mental breakthrough
I would only say
start happening until
I would say now. I'd say mental breakthroughs, I would say in the last 3 years are the most significant. So I'm 44. Let's say starting from 41, 42, 43.
Like most life changing or the most like perspective changing?
Both. Well, because that's one and the same, right? If you change your perspective, you should change your life.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying, like, there's times where, like, I've changed my life. Like, I've changed where I live, what I do,
I see.
you know? But there's, like, big catalyst moments like that. And then there's times where, like, today, where my perspective just shifts around, like, a huge portion of my life. And I'm like, okay, I fucking understand
perspective. They've all been perspective then. I haven't had big physical, like, big movement changes or anything like that, really. Small ones, nothing crazy, but the real significant stuff's been perspective, like, holy shit, what? Okay. Oh, I see things. Okay, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but a lot more recently.
And how did those come about for you? Are they through amazing times?
No, man. Through reflecting, through the shitty times, like through look. And I see, and I appreciate where you're going with this, right? Like, the last 3 years have been extremely difficult for me, like in terms of surroundings, and I created a lot of the difficulty, so it wasn't put on to me. I created a lot of it. Some of it was put on to me, so it was a combination. But I forced myself to figure it out or work through the issues that I was dealing with, rather than, reverting to drinking or partying or doing those types of things. I didn't want to go down a road that I knew I could potentially go down, and I didn't want, if that happened, that could fuck everything. Mm-hmm. So I knew that would happen. So, because I know what kind of person I am. If I go all in, man, I'm going all in. You know? Yeah. You know what I mean? So I made an effort, concerted effort, not to go down that road. And I knew that was possible, so I didn't. And I just didn't entertain it. So I entertained everything on how do I correct behavior? How do I improve thinking? How do I properly achieve a goal and set goals? Like I could do it recently, like with like maybe just through feel, but not through smarts, not through properly sitting back and reflecting and understanding what's the best way to do things and best way to progress. Most of the time I was just charging hard and just doing things, but that's not the best way to do things. I'm realizing now sometimes we need to, like, if we're charging hard, we might actually need to take a step back for a minute or two, let what happened happen, let it, disperse, and then reset and then go again. So I basically recalibrated and reset for the last 3 years. Yeah. Now I'm setting back to go back out, kind of thing.
And I like what you're saying. There's a couple of things I was going to say that I really liked. The first thing is like just the kind of like the slow down to speed up. Right? Like the idea of like, okay, because that's how I am. Like when I first started kind of redesigning myself, it was more about like, okay, I got to figure things out. I got to get after it. I got to start, doing this, doing that. Start making these fucking extensive morning routines, evening routines, all this stuff. And it was like charge after it. And I didn't realize like how to control my intensity, like how to control my energy. We were like talking earlier about like when you're getting a fight, whether it's like in jiu-jitsu or like any type of scenario, and just like kind of like that part where you start freaking out, you start spazzing out, and the ability to control your energy, to be able to conserve it or use it, like even in relation to like running as well. Like if you're going to be running for 12, 16 hours a day, just the idea of when to control your energy and when to control the output of it. But I think the coolest thing about you, man, the thing I admire the most, I think, is the fact that when you speak about those things, you're like, no, like those weren't like all circumstances piled on me. Like I fucked up these things and it was on me to go back and fix it.
Yeah, man. No, I'm where, okay, 3 years ago, I was where I was at because I didn't do certain things, right? Like I found myself in a spot because I wasn't who I should have been, and I hadn't taken action on things that needed to be corrected up until that time. I didn't know. I thought it was, oh yeah, I'm fucking legit, whatever. But I was an idiot, straight up. And I didn't reflect
in
properly.
certain ways.
In certain ways,
yeah.
Like I was good in certain ways, and other ways I wasn't. Like I don't want to be saying I was a demon, right? Like there was certain things I needed to address. I just was ignoring.
Yeah,
and
the hard shit.
I was just ignoring those things, right? And what I didn't realize was, if I don't ignore those things and I address those things, I can fly higher than anyone. But I have to address those things. And as soon as I address those things, not like I'm going to fly high immediately, because then I have to create new patterns of behavior in that new mindset, right? So that takes time, right? And so I'm just now coming into that feeling. It'll take me another year or 2 or 3 to kind of normalize this, where it becomes an internalized perspective, where it's just instinctive, and it's starting to get that way. But I'm trying to go even further there, We got time.
I know. I was just looking at that. I was like, man.
We got to go even further into it because I was talking to Seb. Actually, man, that guy's fucking legit. And he was talking to me about ego and like.
I'm gonna have him on one day, dude. I've been following him for a while. I haven't messaged him yet, but
he'll join. Yeah, I already talked to him.
He's sick.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man, and he is what you get, right? So he's no ego. Like no fucking ego. It's weird, man. So I was talking to him, and because I'm fighting that a bit too, right? Like for me, like not fighting it. It's just it's still there. It's like like I'm still trying to push it down a bit more. Not so it's reflexive, right? So I can I don't want it overpowering. Is what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm talking to him, and I was talking to him, hey man, this is what I'm kind of dealing with. He's like, man, what? Like we were just having a conversation, shooting the shit, right? And he told me an amazing story on how he started trying to figure out how to stuff that ego. But it's a pattern of behavior and a practice that he was doing. It's a practice you have to do every single day. Once he's told me that, then I started seeing where I was practicing it every single day. Mm-hmm. So he gave me an example. And sorry, Seb, I'm going to share this example because I thought it was pretty awesome. And I think it's important that people hear it. Mm-hmm. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So he was telling me, and he's been training for 16 years and martial arts since he was 3. So he's a martial artist.
He's the real deal.
Yeah, he's a martial artist. He's Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, like he's a martial artist. He knows how to use everything, right? Mm-hmm. So he's a martial artist for sure. So he understands it very well. And he was telling me, when I was a brown belt, like he would go travel and roll, and he was like making sure to stuff that ego. He would go to visiting schools, like he'd go visit a school and make sure anyone blue belt or higher tapped him, and he never won any one of them. Purposefully.
Like at all.
Purposefully.
He never won.
But he made it in a way that
like he
they
would
didn't
just
know.
let them have one and then beat them. Like he would literally just never win.
Yeah.
What?
He did that, and he did it and he said it's hard to do that. Because he was saying it's hard to do that because to do it in such a way where the other person doesn't think you're letting them do it is hard.
Yeah.
So now I don't know we didn't have enough time to get into why he was doing that, but I can speculate, and I'm sure he'll elaborate much further. But there's probably a few reasons. One is probably he's trying to synergistically improve both of them. So the person that's a lower belt that's tapping, you're giving him confidence, making him feel better, but not giving it to him so it doesn't make him feel like a piece of shit. He's earning it, right? So now you helped him, right? Now the lower belt's helping Seb by allowing Seb the opportunity to stuff his ego, to make it okay. So it works.
I get it, yeah.
Right? So like, because I think I understand what he was trying to do. Like, it's not about him.
Yeah.
It's the process, the journey of doing something. You're helping that other person too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's not about me. Like, I'm helping him now.
Yeah, and you're not letting him. Yeah, and obviously it's not like you're like let him tap you to like some bogus shit. Like they have to still work for that. Yeah.
So it's a learning thing. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then when I thought, because it's not that I need to do more of that. I'm doing a lot of it in various different ways, but it's a good reminder on how to be cognizant of not being too egocentric, right? Like, and especially on the journey that I'm going to be on now, potentially it could be very crazy. I don't know, right? So I want to make sure that I have the right people around me now that can also ensure that I keep my wits about me if things do get above and beyond what I anticipate.
Where do you think, like right now, when you say you struggle with ego, where does ego, do you think, hurt you the most? Like just like in a broad spectrum,
I'd say.
Where do you struggle with that?
Sometimes I'm feeling myself too much.
Yeah.
Or if people pump my tires, sometimes I need to remind myself I ain't shit. Or no, that's not a right way of saying it. That's not even a good way. So don't say that. Because that's not correct either. I am something. Yeah. I'm not shit.
Yeah.
So just accurately define what I'm feeling or saying in the moment. So don't exaggerate anything. Just be honest. So I think the ego sometimes doesn't allow you to be honest, maybe. And it at least for me, it false sense of who I am sometimes. but it's getting it's getting a little confusing now too, right? Because I know physically there are a lot of people that can do things way more difficult than I can do.
Mm-hmm.
But so I don't know if this is the real important thing to be even thinking about. Why am I even thinking about that? It doesn't even matter what someone else can do just because I can run, and I can't even do that. I'm just talking about breaking a record, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why am I even relating? See, this is what I'm trying to do, right?
I feel you,
I'm
man.
kind of connecting something with that I shouldn't connect, right? Like I'm almost basing it on an ego. Oh, I'm fucking exceptional. I'm badass. I can break a record.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing. We're breaking the record to raise awareness so more eyes are on it. It's not about me. So that's what I mean, to remind myself it's not about me. We're breaking the record not to feed my ego. We're breaking the record, or at least trying
as a vessel for the bigger purpose.
Yes. So that's the distinction, or at least that could be a difficulty I could see happening, right? Like, so I got to be aware of it, right? And that's why it's important, I think, now to establish certain people and trust with certain types of people around me, because I'm going full speed ahead to make this whatever I can make it. So if I'm able to do that, then I'm going to do that. And until I'm going to give it everything I possibly can give until I can't give any more. And if I'm unable to succeed, then so be it. It wasn't meant to be. But I gave it everything.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
Yeah. I know you'll be able to succeed, man. I know it, man. Because just the fact that you're talking about how much you're running right now and what your daily goal will be, I'm like, in 2 years' time, you're definitely going to be crushing that, man. Like,
We'll see.
It's I'm not trying to underplay it like it's like an easy thing to do, because I know you're going to be running every single fucking day for the next 2 years, but it's like, man, I like literally I'm visualizing it for you, man. Every time you lose sight, just know I'm visualizing this shit.
Well, hey,
dude,
man,
for you.
you know what? And that's awesome, and it helps me too, right? Because if I think as a collective, we're in this together, we're doing this as a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see this as just me doing it by myself, man. Like I know Teddy. I've known her for years, right? And so, not that we're tight or anything, but like, look, this is important, and this is stuff that can help people, and it's a lot, and it's a big deal. And if we can do this all together as a collective that can help a shit ton of people, then that's what we should do.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love what you were talking about with like ego and just like comparing yourself to other people, man, because that's kind of like I was trying to think of like where I struggle a lot with my ego. And it's always we talked last time about like winning conversations. Like, dude, I'm still there all the time,
That's okay.
And I've been asking myself since we spoke, like, why do I need to win the conversation? What's the actual like, because like, what's the comparison I'm making to other people? It's like, do I need them to think that I'm like of a certain level of intellect?
Do you?
And it's like, yeah, that's where it's like stemming from. It's like, why do I care if these people think I'm smart?
You are.
But you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, you are. You don't need anyone telling you shit, man. Or, well, some people do, some people don't. I don't know. But if it's a question, I think you're smart. Because, I mean, you're doing things that are meaningful and they're impacting people. So I think that's a good thing, right? You're reaching out to one person. Doesn't matter if it's I'm saying you're reaching one person.
Yeah.
So you're doing something good. Honestly, man. Like, it doesn't fucking matter how many people you're talking to, as long as you're talking to one person. If you're talking to one person and you're helping them, that's it. It doesn't matter. Everything else will come, because through that process, you're going to learn more and experience more, and then you're going to figure out how to do that better, and then do more, and you do that with everything. It's more time on the mat, more time on the road, more time with people, but with the lens of however you want to do that. So for me, it's with helping people. So that's the lens I have in every interaction that I have. How can I help in this scenario? So with that lens on, it helps with pushing down my ego. because that's the first thing coming into my mind. How do I help this person? With my ex-wife, I'm always accommodating, or I always offer more because you know what? I should. It's the reality, man. So if
Dude, just the fact that you think that way, there's so many fucking people that would be like, yo, fuck my ex, fuck that. And you're just like, I should help.
why wouldn't I?
No, I know, because I know that you and I have a similar idea of like what being a man should be. And it's like, no, we're supposed to take care of the people around us. Like,
well, that, and it's so in any way I can help my ex-wife, what does that do? That makes her have less stress. If she has less stress, then is she a better mother?
100%.
1000%. That's all the goal is. It has nothing to do with my ex-wife. It has everything to do with my daughter. So if my ex-wife is happy, my daughter's happy.
Right.
I've made that realization. Now, in fairness to other people, my ex-wife is also a reasonable, smart woman, and who's independent and strong and who's reasonable, right? So I can understand certain situations may not be that. I can't speak to any of those. I can speak to my situation. My situation, my ex-wife has been amazing where she didn't have to be. She could have really not been nice.
Right.
So I feel my obligation, considering that I was involved in that marriage and I have ownership in how it was dissolved, my responsibility is to make sure that within my control, what is in my purview that she doesn't have to worry about, then I do those things. Not to cause added tension or stress, because then that means she's not a better mother. And it's all about my daughter. Just like with my ex, it's all about her. Mm-hmm. So we're both on the same page. Anyway, it's not marriage advice because I can't give that shit.
No, dude. It's you know what though? It's like manhood advice. Like that's what I think people need to listen to, because I feel like, dude, exactly what you're talking about. Like we think like so self-centered, and everything that you've been talking about for the past, like literally the past hour has been about how can I make this person's life better? How can I make this person's life better? How can I make this person's life better? And it's
I'm doing that
it's
because
the why behind, it's the why beyond yourself.
Well, it's also a process for me to learn how to change behavior permanently, right? So if I'm doing that all the time, then it's going to be instinctive. So, for example, this will be the last bit before I got to rock and roll.
Yeah, I was going to say we got jazz soon.
But so like what was the point we were talking about right before that? Was
just kind of like the why beyond yourself, like kind of helping everybody around you, and just kind of having a reason to go beyond just what you need.
Yeah, because you know what? If I'm helping other people around me, that helps me. I think it does, man, because then I'm connecting with people more, and that helps with the mental health as well. I don't know. I just think this is just for me right now, this is just the better way of doing it. And the manhood thing you're talking about. Being a man, look, I don't know. I can only speak for myself and what I'm doing currently and whatever. And being me or being a man is not easy, right? It's a lot of responsibility and acknowledging where you're failing, because that's hard, right? And I fail all the time, man. So I acknowledge those things, but now I'm not allowing those things to tear me down. Mm-hmm. So I acknowledge the things that I'm not good at and then commit to improving upon them. Not today, but eventually those things are going to happen. So if I take 1 millimeter forward, now what I'm doing now is applying that with everything. So I say, okay, it doesn't matter if it happened tomorrow, but I'm going to start the process. Mm-hmm. So if I read a couple pages, cool. Or if I work on my camera a little bit just to learn something, okay, a little bit here, a little bit, just little bits. As long as you're doing that, 1% better every single day. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do over the last 3 years. Really, it's only really been the last 3 years. And proof is in the pudding. 3 years ago, if you saw me, man, hot mess. I wasn't even able to speak the way I'm speaking to you. 3 years later, I'm still a hot mess, but I'm better. And 3 years from now, I'll still be a hot mess, but a little bit better.
Yeah.
So it's going to keep going.
A little bit less of a mess. It's a little bit tidy. It's a little bit tidier.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, man, it's been a fucking I always love talking to you, man. It's good coming
Oh yeah, dude.
coming out here, chatting and shit.
Dude,
I always learn something.
I always just feel like more motivated to go towards the things I love. So I'm happy every time you come by here, man. It makes me thankful for the things that I enjoy, because I feel like there's a lot of things I feel like. Well, I'll say this. This will be the way that we can wrap it up. I'll say this. A lot of the times your ego gets in the way of you actually appreciating the things that you have in life. And when I speak to you, man, it kind of shatters my ego a bit and grounds me, and it makes me appreciate the things I have right in front of me that I can work on. It makes me appreciative that they're there. And
Awesome.
I'm like, fuck yeah, I can work towards this now.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that's a pretty awesome compliment. So I appreciate that, man. And you know what? You do the same for me, because I come here and I see you, who's, you know, a guy who's significantly younger than me, but who's doing good things and who's on the right track and who's asking the right questions way before I ever did. So, man, you're legit, man. So keep doing what you're doing, and I'm happy to know you, and I'm happy to come talk to you whenever. So it's cool, man.
Hell yeah, man. Let's make this a regular thing.
Whenever you holler at me, whenever. Oh, actually, what's the date now? It's next month. We'll do it again next month.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right?
Hell yeah, dude.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Much love for everybody listening to this. Hope you have a good day, good week, good year, good month. Fuck, have a good life.
See ya.
Much love and peace out.
All right, man.